This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Second hour Live Bet Saturday coming up in just over 60 minutes. We do get the first of two Final Four matchups, Auburn and Florida. Current updated numbers, we'll update these periodically throughout the program. We've gone through a deep dive of them already, but two across the board with a total of 159 in favor of Florida. And the other one, we've all come off these 5s, 4.5s across with a total of 136.5 for Houston and Duke. And by the way, I should note, Duke is the 4.5 point favorite there. Humans and I were talking about this earlier in the week. My thought was like maybe you get to 6, but doesn't seem to be the case, obviously, as we're down to 4.5. Hard to see that over the course of the next 3 hours, we are going to see a 1.5 point line move in favor of Duke. I guess crazier things have happened, but probably 4.5, 5, and where we're going to end up closing for that one, I would assume.
Yeah, and there was a point this week where you could have gotten the 5.5. I don't think 6s ever came. Something we haven't talked about with this game, and I'm curious what you think. You usually dismiss this stuff, so I think I know where you're going. Do you buy the fact that this game is in Texas and there's going to be a slight home court for Houston, or do you think that's really not much of a factor with how the tickets are allocated?
Nah, I don't really. To me, I don't really mind. It doesn't matter to me too much. When the 3-point shot from the corner to win the game from Cooper Flagg leaves his hand, I don't think it will matter whether or not there are more Texas Houston fans than Duke fans there. You know what I'm saying? You know me at this point.
Well, if that's the scenario, you're covering the spread. If you need a 3-pointer to win, then you're going to be in good shape to cover. But no, I know what you mean.
But are they there because of all the fans, or are they there because Houston's actually kind of good? It's a real question we're all asking ourselves.
Well, the one thing would be, would the refs be affected by the fans if you get like a situation where it's 60, 70% Houston fans and you let them rest a little bit, you let them play a little bit of football? That could really benefit Houston. I do think either way the whistle will be huge tonight just because of how Houston wants to play. Do you buy that or no?
I mean, it could. And here, I'll be fair because, I do tend to poo-poo these. I don't know about you. I thought there was a very clear difference in the environment for Auburn's Elite Eight Sweet 16 games when they were playing in Atlanta versus like playing in the cavernous Lucas Oil Stadium for some of these games. Like, I don't think Purdue really had an edge, let's say, but the environments were different. Like, that was a very clear, loud building in favor of the Auburn Tigers when they were playing those two games.
I had Auburn. It was the Friday night game against Michigan, and they were struggling, and they started to get on that run, and that was an SEC crowd. I felt good. That crowd made me feel good as an Auburn backer. I'm curious if you felt the same way, where, boy, Auburn hits a shot, they explode, they get a stop, they explode. It just felt like that. I mean, who knows? If they're playing in the middle of nowhere, maybe the same thing happens. But it did feel like that helped spark that run, that having that crowd behind them.
I was too busy feeling just overwhelming anger throughout that entire game. So I didn't really calm down until the final whistle blew, and then I realized, like, oh, yeah, they're going to cover this game too. So, but the environment was different. I think that's very fair. Now, whether it impacted the game or not, I really wouldn't say it would, but hey, maybe it did. Maybe it did get in the officials' favor, but didn't really stick out in terms of officiating in either one of the games, the Michigan and the Michigan State game. And for Michigan State, that game, it's funny about how we are. You always bring this up, how we are as bettors. If you would have just watched me watching that game, you would have thought Auburn was losing the entire way. But they really controlled it throughout the entirety of that contest, outside of Michigan State hitting a bunch of threes at the end to make it look tighter than what it really was. So I'm very curious to see what this is. But like you said, right, it's a pretty neutral environment. It's pretty even allocation in terms of tickets. It's a big dome. Like, I don't know if it makes too big of an impact, but we'll see.
We're going to find out pretty soon. We got like an hour till tip, so I'm starting to get excited for these games.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm getting less excited as we get closer along.
What's the saying? Pressure is a privilege. Like,
it is.
Look,
I don't.
The flip side of this is not having a ticket. You wouldn't have anything to be nervous about. So you got to embrace it. Look, trust me. I know. I know. It's. I know that pit in your stomach when you got money on the line and you just living and dying with every shot. I understand that, but pressure's a privilege. Enjoy it. Enjoy the stress.
I'm not acting like I'm in some terrible situation. I understand how fortunate I am, and I very much.
This is why you would never cut it in New York. This is why you can't make it in a big.
Yeah, right. Nobody would make it in New York. Nobody at all. You can't make it here. You can't make it anywhere, kid. Dude, can I tell you? I saw. You're gonna get me on this too. Jimmy Traina. Okay. He tweets out the other day. He goes, that nonsense that Russ Wilson tries to pull, it won't make it in New York. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean it's not going to make it in New York? What are you going to do, beat him up? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's so stupid. Like, oh, that's not going to fly here. Like, yes, it is. He's going to be Russ. He's going to be the leg lifting on the team plane while you're flying to, your various cities. He's going to be Mr. Unlimited. Like, enough with the New York stuff. Not going to fly here, though, brother. Stop. You tell how I really feel. Yeah, you can tell how I really feel about all of it. Love it. Great city, great people. Okay. I want to get your thoughts. We'll get back to basketball, get some player prop analysis, too, as we get closer to some of these Final Four games. But I did want to get your thoughts. Speaking of New York, a former New York pitcher, Jacob deGrom, he's going to get a start today for the Texas Rangers. They are about $1.70, $1.65 favorite. Some spots like DraftKings upwards of $1.80 with a total of 7.5. Bradley's going to get the start for Tampa Bay. I'm just curious your thoughts. We are talking about now 10 starts over the last 3 seasons for Jacob deGrom. Haven't really seen anything big from him. He is going to always have a respected price considering the ceiling for him. Just went out 5 innings in his first start for the Rangers this season. Just what do you make of deGrom and what we're going to get here and the Rangers in general? Because, market does, I think, respect this Texas team, and I think there's a strong argument to be made that we'll see what the pitching looks like in Houston. Right now, today, Spencer Arrighetti didn't perform too well against Minnesota Twins. But if the high upside pitching staff for the Astros does not hit the high upside, strong argument to be made that this Rangers team is the best team in the American League West.
Yeah, I like this Texas team. I really do. I think that, look, they won a title 2 years ago without anything from deGrom, and last year kind of everything went wrong. Injuries everywhere, and it's already starting a little bit with Young is out, and Leiter hit the IL already, so they've got to stay healthy. But you add Wyatt Langford to that lineup, and maybe bring back Evan Carter. It's interesting. Imagine the trajectory of Evan Carter. You're 20 years old. You're hitting third in the World Series, win a championship, and a couple years later, you're back down at AAA. So he's still a young player. He's still got a lot of upside to add to the Seagers, the Garcias. Bochy's a good manager. Eovaldi at the top of rotation. It's a really good team. So that's the one baseball future I have. I did take them at 25-1 before the season. I would like to, just from a baseball fan standpoint, I want to see deGrom be healthy. Him, Trout, these guys that go missing for 3-4 years that are all-time great players, and deGrom was on his way to being an all-time great. Just not have them in the game is tough. Maybe if you're making the case for deGrom to be healthy, maybe he had all these injuries. He was healthy for a while, 2014 to basically 2021. He was pretty injury-free. He started to get these injuries, and he never had surgery. It was always rest, come back, and he could just never get healthy. Maybe the fact that he had surgery cleans all this stuff up, and he can have a healthy 4 or 5 year end to his career, because it'd be fun to watch. He's just such an electric pitcher. As far as this game, I would look towards probably under 3.5 in the first 5. Bradley's really good. deGrom, obviously, we know how good he is, so I don't want to get involved. I don't think deGrom's going to give you too much length. I think 73 pitches his first outing, so probably looking at like 85 or so maybe 5-6 innings from deGrom, as they're going to pace him and be very careful with him. So I would go under 3.5 in the first 5. Do you have any plays in this or takes on either of these teams in general?
No, and that's why I wanted to bring them up. I'm very tempted to just kind of go in and invest some in the Rangers. So I know I've missed the boat a little bit here, but to the point of what we're talking about, Hunter Brown the other night, we've got 2 starts under the belt. Hunter Brown looks fine, but he's like a strikeout guy. I don't know if he's going to hit the upside that maybe we saw down the stretch of last year. I mentioned Arrighetti, again, really banking on the fact that maybe this guy finds the right side of some of the variants, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And so if all of a sudden we're fast-forwarding 30, 40, 50 games now, and you're looking at an Astros team, Will, that cannot pitch outside of one guy, I think that this sets up for the Rangers to run away and hide in the American League West over a course of a large sample size, and especially if you get the right side of health variance when it comes to a guy like Jacob deGrom. Like, I really believe in this lineup, and if the pitching really starts to pan out, I think there's really something here for the Rangers, and especially in an American League as a whole, right? Even if you zoom out further and go, all right, let's just take a look at the American League as a whole, not just the American League West. I don't know how you feel. At this point heading into the year, there was not a team in the American League that really scared me. I think that there's a bunch of teams that were really close to one another, similar to the Western Conference in the NBA. Pull one out of a hat and tell me this is your American League representative, and I would go, okay, outside of like 4 teams, that makes some sense that would actually be it. So I really do like the buildup of this Ranger squad, and that's why I'm interested to see what deGrom has. I didn't get to get my eyes on his first start, but I want to see if he can maintain this health, because if they have this dude at his peak at the top of their rotation when they get into like the late months, this team's going to be freaking great in a division that doesn't look particularly deep.
Totally agree. You're not a believer in the Mariners. You just don't think they hit well enough.
They don't hit well enough, man. Unless they're going to do something finally and get their heads out of the rear ends and acquire some really good depth to this lineup that is going to help a pitching staff that desperately needs the support. I just don't see why I would believe that all of a sudden the team that is one of the worst strikeout lineups in Major League Baseball is all of a sudden going to start to figure it out here this year. Speaking
of figured out, Sasaki has settled in, and he is throwing some nasty stuff. Yep. Looks like he's throwing a wiffle ball, some splitters, some off-speed stuff. He is, after second and third, nobody out to start the game with Harper up, and you figure, this might be another disaster. He held them to 1 run, and the Phillies are still sitting at 1 run. It looks like with 2 out here in the 4th, but the Pirates just hit looks like a 3-run double. So the Yankees were up 2-0, and this looks like it's going to be about either 3-2 or 4-2 Pirates as they get a big hit off Stroman, who is just not my favorite guy.
No, I can tell. Speaking of 2, by the way, we are in the top of the 5th inning, 3 outs away. Natties don't blow it. Arizona Diamondbacks on the road. They're up 4-0 now in the top of the 5th inning at a first 5 play on the Nationals here against Arizona. Folks, part of our summer special includes everything we do up on the website, and if you sign up for $59, you get access until August 1st. It's a sweet deal, and you get access to all of it, including the exclusive betting splits data. It's both from Circa and from DraftKings, so you can get a really good sense of what the market looks like from the pros and from the public. So check it out now. If you go up to vsin.com and check out the college basketball betting splits, we tell you that 78% of the money and 73% of the money, 78% of the tickets on Duke. You can look at this info yourself. You go to vsin.com/subscribe.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, Will, we got it. Let's go. Show sweat is in. We are heading to the bottom of the 5th inning. Washington Nationals up 4-0 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. So get it done. Final stat line, at least of note, Eduardo Rodriguez, an ugly 4 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. Struck out 10. If that isn't Major League Baseball in a nutshell right there, huh? Over 4 innings, you struck out 10. Great. You only walked 1. Even better. And you gave up 4 earned runs in the process.
Yeah, that is an odd stat line because usually when you have the stuff to strike out 10 guys in 4 innings, the other numbers, the numbers that matter, don't look so bad. So good call by you. Nice little cash there. And let's see, Pirates up 4-2. Like I mentioned, Dodgers up 2-1, top of the 5th. And we got Baltimore 2-0 over Kansas City, game we really haven't spent much time on. So Boston and St. Louis in a delay. Anything else you're betting baseball here or no?
Nothing yet. Nothing really sticks out. Wanted to have something for us to keep track of here. But outside of that, all focus will be on a little bit later this evening. When, of course, my eyes will be on Guardians-Angels. No, the Final Four matchups later this evening. And so I wanted to go back to these, but I wanted to approach it from a different perspective. You do have some player props that are available here right now. Obviously, most shops now, because of what's going on around the country, offering just overs on these player props. So keep that in mind as you look at it. But wanted to focus on what is obviously the most important name, Johnny Broom, over at DraftKings, 20-plus points. You're laying $1.15. You are somebody that believes that the arm injury is something. How does that manifest? What does it look like for Johnny Broom? If you're right that the arm is a problem, what does that look like?
It's a great question. I just kind of spread it around. I did under 0.3 rebounds assists combined, which is 31.5. And then some of these books let you parlay it. Under points, under rebounds assists, just with the kind of hope and the prayer that, you know what, if my handicap is right and then he's compromised and he's either ineffective or he's not playing as much, that all 3 are going to cash and you take the fat payout on it. Now, look, you have this thought process that maybe he's banged up and he comes out and he looks fine, then you're just going to lose the bet. So I understand that. It's not like I have any inside information or anything. I just I have concerns about it, and I'm going to play on my concerns. I just thought it looked really bad when it happened. And I don't know, even with 4 or 5 days here to recover, I don't know that he's going to be 100%. Do you believe he's going to be 100%?
I mean, I think he's going to be 100% in the sense of, like, all these guys are at 100%, right? Like, he's going to play, he's going to be available, and I expect him to be Johnny Broom. Does that make sense? You know, like I don't
Who
think
else would
anybody.
he be if he's not John Broome?
Right, but he's not going to. Any of these guys are all dealing with something. So I think he's going to be out there. I don't think he'd be playing if he was not able to play. I think it being the off arm is, I think, a very important thing here, not the shooting arm, which is important. You mentioned it. We saw him come in, hit the three in the game. You know, it's funny. I don't know if you saw. I'm sure you did. Did you see the video of him walking out to the court yesterday?
Yes.
So what I find hilarious about the 13-second video that everybody is very much pulling a lot from, if you look at it in the first frame, his arm is dangling like normal and flowing freely. And then all of a sudden, the video starts, and he kind of like, oh, and then he just kind of rests it there. Like, I don't know. I think we're playing too many games to try to figure this thing out. I'm expecting Broome to be out there. Now, what I think is going to be interesting is if it's tender, if he doesn't want to do certain things, like where I think that actually manifests, Will, is on defense. So let's say he has an opportunity with his offhand to slap the glass and block a shot or anything like that. Will he be willing to do it? Will he actually go up and try to contest that shot? Could he re-aggravate it? Correct. Right? Like if that's the instance. Let's say he's running in transition with somebody. He thinks he has an opportunity to potentially block that shot. Does he try to do it with the left hand because he doesn't feel like he can do it with the right hand, and that allows that shot to go in, whatever it is? Like that's what I'm more curious about, and that's where I think it manifests itself a little bit. I think when you watch John Broome quite a bit, I have noticed that I don't think he is like the best defender in the world when you go at him in general, right? And I think there's just a lot of, I'll just put my hands up and kind of flail at the ball a little bit here. If he's got an opportunity to block a shot, he'll take it. And I think that just becomes a little bit worse. So maybe that's where it manifests itself from. Maybe he's given up a little bit more on the defensive end. And generally, right, that's not particularly great for a guy who averages well over 2.5 stocks per game. But I think that's probably how it manifests, not so much on his offensive output.
And I think I saw over under 1.5 threes made.
Yeah.
Would the long distance shot, even though it's the off arm, would that be affected, you think? If I'm dealing with something in my off arm, am I really going to shoot from distance with accuracy?
I don't know. You know, our producer Danny here caught me watching the three highlight right before the show started. I mean, he went up with it pretty easy and flicked that thing nice, and then he hit it. And by the way, and like you said, maybe it's the adrenaline, maybe it is. After he hits that three, he's pumping both arms. Like he's going all over the place. So who knows? Like, I don't think it would affect him from a scoring standpoint. He also, when he scores, when you watch him, he doesn't go, like, he's got some nice post moves. He doesn't go a lot with his offhand. It's usually his left hand, so I think he'll still be fine in the post. Like, I think he'll be okay for the most part. But again, I'm somebody who's pro-Auburn in this, but I'm really curious to see how that manifests. Again, going back to the original premise of all of this, 21.5, and actually, as I speak, 20.5. No, excuse me, 20 plus. I'm blind. 20 plus points. That's how they're wording it now. Over minus 115. So that's going to be something interesting to watch. Out to Walter Clayton Jr., 21 plus at minus 115. We've talked a lot about Tahad Pettiford. His number's at 15 or more. Do you have a read on who else might be a pretty big name here? I think the other name to watch is Chad Baker-Mazara, who has not been very good at averaging 8.5 points per game here in this tournament.
Yeah, he's at 11.5, right? Doesn't the 11.5 seem a little high?
I would think, given the way that he's played, yes. But given what he's capable of, if you remember going back to the Creighton game where he was hitting shots into flurry and was absolutely awesome for that team, I think there's a reality where good Chad Baker-Mazara shows up and can fill up the stat sheet, especially if you're right and John Broome is not fully healthy and some of the offensive workload goes elsewhere.
Do you are these readily available in Vegas? These player props for college?
I mean, look, I'm looking at DraftKings just for some ease of availability here, but I think there's quite a few. Let's see. Let's click on this. Yeah, I'm looking at them right now.
Okay. Trent Grisham, by the way, looks like 3-run homer for the Yankees, who were just up 2-0, then down 4-2, and before you can blink, without an out being recorded in the fifth, take a 5-4 lead here. I think that's Grisham's second homer of the day. So 5-4 Yankees, nobody out here in the fifth.
By the way, here in Vegas, we have not cowered to those outside voices. You can actually go over/under here in Vegas. So
there you go.
Other spots.
As it should be. I mean, really.
What's that?
I won't. Where it's only overs, I won't even play. I'm not going to bet into a one-way market. That's just not fair.
Would agree. So some other numbers here for you. Again, to the point of shooting, like you were asking, John Broome, over. It's just set at a half. 3-point makes at minus 110 both ways. So if you want to go in that direction, only a half for John Broome in terms of the three-point shots. Overall points, I'm looking at BetMGM right now, 19.5. If you think some of these other numbers are going elsewhere, like you mentioned, maybe Baker Mazar being a little too high, BetMGM's got it actually at 10.5 shaded to the over at -125. You know, somebody who does think Auburn's the side, to me, I would gravitate toward looking at like a Baker Mazar to get something done here, because I don't know if they're going to be able to do it without him actually being pretty active.
Are you somebody that's nervous during these games? Are you positive or are you negative?
Oh, I'm pretty, especially if like it's a high stakes one like this for me, I'm pretty pessimistic internally. Like I'll sit like what's going to happen is I'm going to sit here, right? I'm at Bar Canada right now.
Yes.
So I'll probably sit here, depending on how it's going, and just sit and brood in silence. And then like on a big shot or something, I might like slap a table real quick. But like it's internally, it's all fury and negativity.
If it's not going well, are you expressive? Will you swear? Will you throw something, punch something, or
no,
you don't get to that level?
I don't get to that point. It's it's all just a bunch of cursing on the inside of my head. Like that's really all it is.
Okay.
Like, mother, you know.
Me neither.
I was about to let it out right now. You know, I'm already. Look, I told Tim, I'm already expecting the worst. Like that's how this goes. I think you said it too. Like I think you say it all the time, right? Like we're tuned to be just negative.
I don't know that I say that. Do I say that?
As bettors,
I
yes.
possibly did. Yeah, you might be right. Did you have a drink? Can we get JVT a drink?
I have outwardly asked on the air if I'm allowed to consume alcohol while this is happening.
Yeah.
Our bosses, who allegedly watch all the time, have not responded to any of my pleas. This might be one of those ask for forgiveness, not for permission situations.
Sure.
By the way, the man, the myth, the legend, Mike
go.
Palm just walked into the building, so might have to get one.
There you go.
There we go. All right, folks, if you want to get everything set up and ready to go with the Sharp Plays, I recommend that you do it. Their secret weapon. Since 2011, they've been building trusted relationships with major sports books and sports insiders worldwide, provide daily updates on what top professional sports bettors and betting groups are wagering on, and they've just launched a cutting-edge AI betting analyst that provides even more selections and reports, giving the edge you need to win. Best part, you can check out the Sharp Plays free content anytime, get real-time betting action reports, alerts, and more through email and X directly from the pros. Check it all out at sharpplays.com. With the Sharp Plays, you're joining a team that's never had a losing year. So what do you have to lose? Start today. Get access to the best betting insights at sharpplays.com. It's also just the added magnitude is, it'd be pretty nice to catch Paul Stone. Looked like he was going to run away and hide, man. I thought he was going to go wire to wire. We got some life.
Yeah, I wonder what your odds were live to in the futures market to catch him at your lowest point. It's probably got a pretty good number.
Yeah, luckily I wasn't ever too far back. I've always been kind of floating in that 5-2 range throughout this entire tournament, so we'll see. But I would like to join you with a title of Circa College Hoops Challenge champion.
I'm rooting for you. Yeah, the first round just killed me, but I'm rooting for you for sure. No, I was saying.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, Will, first and foremost, 5-4 between the Yankees and the Pirates.
Yeah, it's we mentioned it last segment that it was 2-0, then before he could blink 4-2, and then quickly 5-4, 3-run homer for Grisham, his second of the day, and it looks like the Yankees are poised to add more here. Bases loaded, nobody out. I got the split screen on with about 4 different games, but it looks like they got them loaded here. Nobody out here with 3 already in. Falter out of the game.
Yep. All right, and the other one that we're watching between the Dodgers and the Phillies, this series has been fun, as we saw the first one last night. 2-1, Dodgers up on top, courtesy of a Kike Hernandez 2-run shot. That is the lead, but Phillies got runners on the corners right now and are threatening in this one. We'll keep our eye there. And the other matchups that are underway, we're starting to see some others. Mike Palm finally got into the building and started to throw some of the baseball games up. So we're finally starting to see what's going on in other spots in Major League Baseball. Very excited for that. All right, so we were talking about Auburn, John Broome, who has been a very big storyline here. So let's throw this up. This is what we're referencing. If you're watching up at VSiN.com, you haven't seen the video. This is what I was talking about when Broome walks in. The media availability or whatever it was yesterday, many people gravitated toward the fact that he was holding the arm tight and holding on to his waistband. The very first frame, if we could replay it, he's actually dangling fine, and then he puts it up there on the wristband. So We'll see. Did you take anything out of it from Jeanne doing what he was doing yesterday here?
I mean, it doesn't look great, but I don't know. You're going to base your bet on
I think a lot of people are.
Video. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great, but we'll see.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. You're not into the conspiracies, it would seem.
I mean, here's the thing about playing the player props under. If he's really hurt, you got a great bet. If he's not hurt, you still have a fair bet. So I just feel like there's so many ways to win these unders when you play these player props. That's why I do like the under 31.5 PRA, the points, rebounds, assists.
All right. So with that, I wanted to also note this. How about this one? I don't know if you consider it a bad beat, but it's not a fun one. The New York Knicks scored their 120th point with 7 minutes and 54 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. They scored 1 point the rest of the way. Game stays under by about 9 points against the Atlanta Hawks, 121-105.
Close enough for a bad beat.
8 minutes.
Close enough for a bad beat. That's a tough one.
With only 1 point. You scored 120 up to that point, and you don't score one. You only score one the rest of the way.
It's that tough New York media. It's trickling down to on the court, and it made them nervous.
I expect they're going to ask questions that no other media member would ask after this one, right? And there's going to be nothing else. Everybody else would say, "Good game, Knicks," but in New York, they'll ask the tough questions that nobody else would ask. Is that right?
I'm excited for these playoffs. We should have a really good postseason here starting in a couple weeks. Do you buy this? I was listening to this with Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe. I'm so happy Zach Lowe is back. I think he does a tremendous job.
Oh,
they were talking about Thibodeau maybe being on the hot seat. Do you buy that if they go out in the first or second round?
I guess potentially in that, like, they haven't really achieved. You know, it's funny to tie in one more shot at New York. You would think that the Knicks were all the way back and winning the NBA Finals the way that they talk about that team. But that is not the case. They really haven't achieved anything under Tobel at all. Everybody's just been all randy because the Knicks are back in the playoffs. But I thought in the harsh New York media landscape that wouldn't be enough. But apparently it has been over the last few years. But if you actually break down what Tibbs has done with this team, it's been a whole lot of nothing. So I would generally say, I guess I would get it if he's on the hot seat. But, I mean, I would say he's not going to get fired if they don't do anything here. But it is pretty surprising to see a team that was built up the way it was in the offseason like this narratively fail in the way that many didn't expect, which is being one of the worst defenses in the playoff field amongst the contenders.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to go from bad to good. You can get from bad to respectable to good. It's very hard to go from pretty good to great. And I think they're a pretty good team. But to go from pretty good to great, you still have that hurdle of trying to get a top 3, top 5, at least a top 10 player. I don't know if they have that. And they're not very good defensively. So it's really hard for them to take that next leap. And I don't know where that next leap comes from.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming this year. It's really going to be here's the thing, too. Karl Anthony Towns is a fine player. He's not a particularly great defensive player. And if he's going to be your primary backstop there, trying to protect the rim, I think you're going to have some problems. And I think you've seen that come to fruition here a little bit for the New York Knicks. Let me ask you this, since we're on this topic. We do have some games coming up a little bit later. It's a short NBA slate tonight. I think wanting to avoid having to go head-to-head with the Final Four, and really no games of note. Memphis and Detroit, Minnesota and Philly, Milwaukee, Miami. Second leg of a back-to-back for the Clippers and the Mavericks later tonight, too. The only big thing to watch for this one between the Clippers and the Mavericks will be whether or not Kawhi Leonard plays. Kind of hinted yesterday about maybe playing in the second leg of a back-to-back. That's kind of been the thing we've been waiting for Kawhi when he starts to play these second legs. We'll see if they actually push it. He is officially questionable to play. But I don't know how much you've been watching down the stretch. By the way, Clippers 8-point favorite, total of 220.5. Let me ask you about Golden State. This stretch that they just went on, I don't think it can be undersold how impressive it is what Golden State just did. Playing 3 games in 4 nights, beating Memphis, Los Angeles, and Denver, the Lakers that is, and vaulting themselves up the standings. They have been incredible. This starting lineup that they just rolled out the other night, they are undefeated when they start those 5 together. What have you made of this run from Golden State? We don't get to see them until tomorrow against the Rockets, who just pasted the Thunder. But what have you made of Golden State's run here and their legitimacy in the Western Conference?
Ultra impressive. I just don't know. Is this a team that has like actual championship upside? Or is it similar like that Laker team from a couple of years ago where right matchup, and maybe not even the right matchup, but the right side of the bracket, and they could be in a conference finals. I still look at them as a conference finals as a ceiling. Is that fair or unfair?
I think it's fair. Look, I still have my question too about like when they play a best-of-7 series against an opponent, will they be able to shoot? Will they be able to shoot legitimately? Right? Will that be an actual problem? I still think it might, especially if you get into some of these lineups where you have like Jimmy and Kuminga and Draymond together. But it hasn't really bothered them yet. But I also think too, I'm adamant that this is still the Western Conference Invitational for the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're all invited to compete, but the Oklahoma City Thunder will eventually be crowned champions, and I don't want to move off of that. But Golden State looks great. And the other important part about winning these games is getting on the other side of the bracket. Generally, you'd probably think like, okay, maybe you slip to like 7. Like if the Clippers are just the 7th seed and they win that play-in, cool. You get the other side of the bracket. You get to avoid Oklahoma City. Well, the Warriors are in a position to maybe get all the way up to 3, given the fact that they just beat the Nuggets and the Lakers head-to-head and could get up there should they match them record-wise. So if they get to 3, they're going to be pretty dangerous because you're talking about second-round series against Houston. If you make it past the first-round series and then all of a sudden you don't get to play OKC until the final round of the Western Conference playoffs.
I agree that OKC is coming out of the West, and I don't know that they play a 7th game.
Ooh, that's an interesting one too. I generally the thought just being like, look, they're probably going to run through this conference, and I would tend to agree. I mean, I think we're seeing outside of Golden State, and even the Clippers are starting to really round into form. Kawhi's look pretty good, but all of these teams do have some flaws, and I think that OKC seems to be a team that is nearly flawless at this point right now, and very much deserving of their odds-on status.
Totally agree. And it's going to be something where we play the results either way, as we tend to do.
Yes.
If they come out of the West and eventually win a championship, we're going to say we should have seen it coming. The net rating, all of the numbers were off the charts. We should have known this team. This team is an absolute juggernaut. We just have a hard time believing it because it hasn't happened before. And then if for whatever reason they get picked off along the way, the same people will say, obviously, they were going to get picked off. They didn't have the experience. They didn't have the second, third best players outside of SGA. They didn't really have it. So whatever happens, I think people will be playing the results with them.
You also forgot, by the way, Michael Conforto solo shot for the Los Angeles Dodgers here against Phillies. Extend that lead out. You also forgot the other option, which is we're going to denigrate any title that they win because the Western Conference wasn't hard enough.
You think so?
Oh, dude, come on. It's always going to happen. It's always, like you said, and you said this at the beginning, and it's actually a very powerful statement because it speaks to what's going on right now with this sport. Zach Lowe being back is desperately needed because the analysis around this sport every single time is just 80s player versus current player. 80s player would have won. Today's players are soft. That is, we saw Steph Curry drop 50 in a performance and a stat line we'd never seen before, and the headline out of the mothership was, I had a Hall of Famer tell me he wouldn't average 17 in the 70s. That's how we handle these things. That is how this sport is covered, and I think that's exactly what the storyline will be for a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder should they move out past the Western Conference.
I'll give myself credit. I'm elite at checking out of that stuff. I watch none of it. It's so bad. Anytime I come across just a minute or two of it, it's so dreadful you can't even watch it. So I'm with you.
It happens all the time. I read one to Matt. It got him so mad where Shaq yesterday, one of the headlines was LeBron's longevity is a sign of how soft the league is now. It's like, all right, buddy, let's just stop doing this. Hey, you're probably not great at betting every sport. Let Rhythm help. Best bettors use data to get ahead, so why not put AI to work for you? Rhythm is an app that helps you make personalized betting models, analyze trends, make sharper picks for every game. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or looking for an edge, Rhythm has you covered with AI-backed projections and insights. And right now, you can get 50% off an annual core subscription with the promo code VSIN or 25% off your first month with promo code HOOPS25. Head over to therhythm.com today. That's RITHMM.com. We're approaching the Final Four, and it is getting a little bit rowdier here at Bar Canada.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
So game of the day, I would say Major League Baseball series of the weekend, Dodgers and Phillies. These two teams maybe clashing in the postseason a little bit later. Dodgers hold a 3-1 lead, top of the 6th, I believe, with a 3-2 count right now. I wanted to bring this up. Yeah, it was top of the 6th. So I wanted to bring this up, Will, because we're watching a lot of stuff. I don't know if you saw what exactly happened. If you remember, I mentioned that the Phillies had runners on the corners with 1 out, and yet it remained 2-1. Bryson Stott got doubled off. So the ball is hit by Schwarber. It's a liner to Teoscar Hernandez in right field. He snags it and immediately catches Stott sleeping off the first base bag, and they get him. So all of a sudden, you got runners on the corners with 1 out, and a double play like that ends the inning. So the Phillies kicking themselves because this could be a 1-run game if everything remains the same, and instead it is 3-1 Dodgers up on top. How about that?
Yeah, and I believe if the run had crossed home plate, the runner from third had tagged and scored before the throw beat the first baseman. I believe that run counts, but that was not the case. It was deep enough to get the run home, too. So as long as Stott didn't get picked off, it would have been 2-2 after 5. Instead, it's 2-1 after 5. Conforto adds the homer, so you quickly go from a game that should have been tied to a game you're trailing by 2 runs. So Dodgers up 3-1. The big story from this game is Sasaki, after a rough start, the first couple of batters getting base hits, he settled in. He pitched really well. Now, he left with a couple guys on, nobody out, and the bullpen was able to bail him out with help from that double play. But stuff looked good. The walks were under control. He didn't go very deep into this game, so it's not like he went 8 shutout innings or something. But progress, you can at least see the flashes, the signs of the pitcher they expect Sasaki to be.
Yep. I really hope he kind of does. I mean, the Dodgers are the great evil empire or whatever, but the piling on by many, you always like to kind of see the kid turn things around and actually perform a little bit better than people are giving him crap for. So very much looking forward to that maybe working out to an extent because the Dodgers have enough, and I'm kind of tired of watching that happen over and over again. You hear the cheer, by the way, the Pittsburgh Penguins score to take a 4-3 lead over the Dallas Stars. You and I don't talk much hockey on these shows. Do you get involved in a lot of hockey betting in the postseason? I'm much more of a hockey postseason bettor at the right time when the numbers are the tightest and we know the most about these teams.
I think that's about all the hockey time that we need. I think we covered it.
So you're not going to answer my question?
The playoffs.
Okay.
The playoffs are great. I bet I'm like you. I bet the playoffs.
All right. Appreciate that.
Game 7 unders. I watched the playoffs, but that'd be a good question. How many hockey players can you name? I don't. The list for me is not very long.
Oh, it's. I fully admit it's one of my blind spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. Is a better if you're going to come on here on these shows and talk about college football, college basketball, NFL, baseball, hockey, golf. Like, we got certain people, like Wes Reynolds is really, no joke, an expert on all this stuff. It's very hard. I mean, there's just not enough hours in the day to handicap all this stuff, watch all this stuff, and feel like you're great at everything. It's just, you got to kind of pick your spots. Hockey's one that I enjoy the playoffs, but it's not one that I bet a whole ton.
All right, quick update here, because this it speaks to exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to some of these games and why I like to do what I like to do. So right now, the Washington Nationals and Arizona Diamondbacks are going at it, right? And I had played this first 5. Part of the reason why I like to play the first 5 is that I'm lazy. The other reason why I like to play some of these first 5s is that I just don't want to get involved with some of these bullpen pitchers because I just don't know. I don't know who's coming out. I don't know what the variant's going to look like. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, sure enough, Mitchell Parker comes in, gives him a pretty good shot. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, gets 1 on, and then scores, strikes out 2, walks 4, and then now all of a sudden Lopez comes in relief, and in 2/3 has given up 2 hits, has allowed that runner to reach, and it's 4-2 out of nowhere. So again, Nationals might not blow this game, but it's why I like these first 5s, Will. Like these bullpens, it just gets too random. I don't want to mess with this at all.
I do the same thing, and let me ask you, as somebody who does the same thing, are you somebody who once your bet cashes in the first 5, you almost root against the team you had in the first 5 just to like feel better about yourself? Like you have a first 5 under. I love it. If I have a first 5 under, it's 1-1 after 5. I win my bet, and then they score like 8 runs in the top of the 6. I don't know why. Are you the same way?
It makes you look smarter. So sure, of course. I mean, come on now.
Okay.
I'm rooting for that to happen every time. So it looks like I feel even smarter now. Look at that. I was right. So I hope the Nationals blow this. Yeah, I look like a genius.
Yeah. It's just a good feeling. It's like you're getting over on the book. Like all of those runs cannot hurt me now. My bet's already in. Sucks for you guys.
Yep.
There's an element of that.
All right, I wanted everybody to check this out, Will. I know you're watching a bunch of games, but you can check the video feed here up at vcent.com. We're about 20 minutes away from tip-off. We do have footage. Janai Broom warming up here on the floor out there at the Alamo Dome. You tell me if you see anything here, but it looks like going through some normal stuff. Obviously, we want to see what's going on with the elbow, but it seems like Janai Broom, as we know he's going to be out there. The question is, what level is he going to be playing at? He's been working the arm out. Looks pretty normal here. here. And, again, availability is not in question. It's just level of play for Broom when he is going to be out there. Seems like he's using the arm pretty well.
Yeah, I can't tell a lot from there. The question will be, like, once he starts to get banged around in the physicality of the game, does he re-aggravate it? Is it something where let's just say it's 80-90% now, and by the 8-minute mark that he takes a hit or he gets bumped around and that 80-90% goes down to like 50-60%? That will be my concern for Broom. But as far as that video, there's not a lot that would give you concern.
Whoa, America's making all sorts of assumptions after one video of him walking onto the floor. Now we actually see him in action, and it's not much to take away.
You think he's good to go? So you're 100%. You're fine. You're fine with him.
He's dropping 30. He's giving me 30 and 20 today.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like positive JVT. Positive JVTs.
You're not going to want. Well, because I have to get the positivity out because in 9 minutes it's going to disappear. You know what I mean? So look, I've been all over the place. I don't know if you're a superhero guy, but does Two-Face Batman does that reference catch with you? You know who Two-Face is?
Yes, familiar with the reference.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, like that's been me all week. There's going to be stretches where I'm just like, they can do this. Yeah. And then there's a vast majority of stretches where like, this is terrible. I can never have anything good happen to me. This sucks. I know exactly what's going to happen by the time I get to Saturday.
There's a Seinfeld reference too, but I don't think you're a Seinfeld guy.
Let's try it. Apparently 99.9% of our audience is.
There was a girl Jerry dates, and under a certain light, at a certain angle, she looked one way, and then under a certain angle, she looked differently.
Oh, okay. So that's my mood.
Yeah. Yes.
I think I've told you this story before. So I haven't watched Seinfeld. I've seen one episode in its entirety. It's not been something I've actively avoided. It's just I've never watched it before. And the one episode I watched, it was at Mitch Moss's house because he made me watch it. And then he did the thing where he watched me to make sure I was laughing at all the right parts. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, I get it. You know, and you never like that.
Anytime you show somebody something funny and you want them to like, you put pressure on them to make it like to agree with you that it's funny. It hurts the comedy of it because you just can't react naturally, laugh naturally. You feel like you're being watched. So I do think that hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts your own cause. If you're like, oh, watch this, it's the funniest thing ever, and you stand there and watch to see if they laugh. I think it hurts the comedy aspect.
Also, I don't want to make you mad, but like it seems like the entire premise is minor inconvenience makes guy spiral out of control.
No, it's a good show. You're underselling it. It's incredibly well written. It's timeless. I will not stand for any sign.
It seems like all it is. I just received a text. Stormy Bonatoni. You're on the air for this game with 3 question marks. Stormy, if you're watching, yeah, I am. At least for the first half. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Absolutely tremendous when this thing starts here in the next 10 minutes, but very much looking forward to it. As I am looking forward to all of you checking out and taking advantage of our summer special, go to VSiN.com through August 1st. You can get a VSiN Pro subscription for less than $60, $59. Daily best bets, the exclusive betting splits, expert analysis, betting systems, and more. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe and check it out today. Will, are you
into the Crown? 68-58 UCF over Nova. What are your thoughts there?
My thoughts are that Matt Humans has such exuberance for the Crown. He's done enough for both of us.
Oh, really? He's into it?
Yeah, you would think it's the only sporting event going on right now.
Okay.
Matt Humans loves it. I think he's been out there like 10 times.
Oh, wow. Look, I love college basketball. I'd be so into these tournaments. It's hard once you get to like April and baseball's on. It's like, man, I haven't thought about Villanova basketball and Nebraska I haven't thought about these teams in so long. It's just the timing of it hurts. But look, the more the merrier. I like that Matt's into it. But Nova was a sizable, I think 3-4 point favorite in this game, but they are losing to Central Florida here.
So Boise State is onward, or what's going on there?
We'll find out when you come back.
Okay. All right. We'll like that. I apologize. It's getting pretty raucous here. It is getting a little bit more crowded. People are coming out, I would assume, to check out what is going to happen for the Final Four action. This is going to get started in about, 15 minutes from now. I think 3:09 is the official start time for this, 6:09 for you out on the East Coast. So very much looking forward to that. We'll have our final updates on that on the other side. A quick market update right now before we go to break and where we're at. Any late moves worth noting here in this? Really, the only move worth noting, the total. We are starting to hit 158.5 at a couple of spots, Will, for the total for Florida and Auburn. That's also going to be a very interesting sweat, as this thing opened up 162 initially at multiple spots. Now 158.5 is the predominant number across the board. So we're starting to see some late action on the under there. All right, when we come back, we'll have our last look at Florida and Auburn. We'll take a look ahead, of course, to Houston and Duke, and we'll watch the game. And over the course of the next hour, very much looking forward to the first half with Will Hill by my side, who has nothing but positivity.